What is happiness? Happiness is achievement. What's the father of achievement? Motivation. What's the mother? Encouragement. The fine golf swing is truly achievement. Man may lie, cheat, and steal for gain. But he'll never gain the golf swing. To gain the golf swing, man must work. It's work without toil. For those of us who know and love it, golf is truly happiness.
Hey there, it's Todd Graves. Welcome to tonight's program. I am excited to be here because you're here wanting to improve your golf game, simplify your golf swing, and get better at golf. You're in the exact same place I was 30 years ago. And I know that tonight, there's a couple of things that I'm going to present to you that I know if you'll spend some time with me, follow the program that I'm going through tonight, I'm going to do two main things with you. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to simplify your golf swing. And I'm going to explain that and get into some detail of how I'm going to do that. And the second thing I'm going to do tonight is I'm going to give you a process to learn that exact thing of simplifying your swing. I'm going to do two very important things. And these are two things that you have never, ever done before in your life, because generally speaking, when I talk to golfers, and I've been doing this now for 30 years, golfers are in the quick fix game. And you've probably been there. You've probably taken lessons before. You've probably been watching YouTube channel. You probably watch my YouTube channel. You probably scour the internet and scour the television and scour videos looking for something that's going to help your game. I think we've all been there, and I've been there too. But that's exactly what led me to this place here tonight. Matter of fact, the reason I'm standing in front of you is the same reason that you're standing here or sitting there watching this video and watching this program tonight. And by the way, I just want you to know that this program right now is live. I have the team in the room, and you're going to be I'll be answering your questions. So if you do have questions, I'll be interacting with you. I also have a chat on the screen, so eventually I'll be able to talk to some of you in the chat and get some responses from you. So I'm doing this live because I want to interact with you, because my story is very similar to your story. 30 years ago, I was playing on a professional golf tour. I was new to the game of golf professionally. And I was overseas, as far as you can go from where I live now, playing on a golf course where no one spoke English as their main language. And I remember how difficult my swing, because I didn't have a good swing back then, I had a very complicated swing. And as my game progressed, I got to the point where I really did not understand how to play golf anymore. Matter of fact, I tell the story all the time where I'm standing on the 18th hole of a big tournament, and I literally am standing there and I cannot take the club back. I remember walking up to the 18th hole and standing on that tee and thinking to myself, I was petrified to swing the golf club, because throughout that tournament round, I had progressively started hitting bad shots. My swing got out of sequence. I couldn't find a fairway. The course was very difficult, and golf just got so overwhelming and complicated. And I remember that was a key turning point for me leaving that tournament. I was actually in New Delhi, India at the time. And I said to myself, I never want to feel like that again. I never want to feel that way about golf again. I want to make this game easier. I want to have more fun playing the game. I want to play better golf than I was back there. When I returned to the United States, when I left the Asian tour and got back in the United States, I committed myself to trying to find the absolute easiest way and best way to play golf. Well, the funny thing is about that story, 3 years later, I was worse. I started working with the best golf instructors in the world. Here I was, a relatively good golfer, wanting to get better. I went to the best instructors in the United States at the time. This was back in the early 90s. And 3 years later, I was worse. And the question is, why was it so difficult? What made it so difficult to become better at the game of golf? And it's the same thing you're running into probably now. There's so much information. Matter of fact, probably now it's worse. Probably now you're running into the fact that there's so much information out there. It's so easy to access. You can go to the YouTube and watch it on television. You're inundated with the latest and greatest training aids, new equipment, So much going on. I want to tell you right now that tonight is about common sense. It's about doing things that are easy. It's about, you're going to say tonight, you're going to ask one question, Todd, why doesn't everybody do it this way? That's what you're going to ask me by the end of the night. Why isn't everybody doing it this way? So let's get into how I'm going to help you, because that's really what tonight's about. I'm going to help you simplify your golf swing, and then I'm going to help you learn it. So, and by the way, quickly, because the chat just came up here for me. How many of you in the chat, just go ahead and give me a, you can give me on a 1 to 10. I like to do on 1 to 10. Just give me a 1. Give me a 1 if you guys are currently taking golf lessons, or if you've taken lessons in the past. How many of you have taken golf lessons or are currently taking lessons? Give me a 1 in the chat. Let me know who those people are. I want to know if you're in the process of trying to get better at this game as well. Okay, the first thing I'm going to do tonight for you, and here's my little whiteboard here, so I start putting stuff on this board to kind of keep myself organized. The first thing I'm going to teach you is a simple swing. Okay, I'm going to simplify your swing with the single plane swing. All right, so if I can simplify your game, and I'm going to show you how I do this, it's a great way to show you a simple golf swing that's going to help you. I'm going to show you that, but then I'm going to show you a process, a perfect process of how to learn it. That'll speed up the learning for you. But let's talk about the single plane swing first. How many of you right now, and again, give me a 1, how many of you, how many actually know what the single plane swing is? I just want to know how many 1s are out there. Do you know what the single plane swing is? Have you tried to learn it before? Let's go through this, because I'm going to show you how the single plane swing will take what you're currently doing, which is the conventional golf swing, and there's major flaws that are built in to the conventional swing. I call it the 1 mistake, and it starts at address. But let's go through what that mistake is. The most important thing I can do to help you hit a golf ball better, it's going to make this, like I said tonight, it's all common sense. Look how many people are taking instruction right now. Look how many people are doing that. If I'm going to help you hit a golf ball better, that's why you're here, I've got to help you get to the moment of impact. Okay? So the most important thing I can do is help you get to this place where we strike the golf ball, but I need to make sure you get there consistently. Science says that the best ball strikers, the best golfers, the guys who hit the golf ball the best, repeat the moment of impact more consistently. Makes sense, right? So the goal of a golf swing, the entire goal, is to get to the moment of impact in a repeatable, consistent way, and we want to obviously have some speed so we can hit a golf ball the consistent distances we want. So the goal of me helping you is really to get to impact. That's what tonight, if I said what's tonight about, it's about helping you do the most important thing in a golf swing, get to impact. So to do that, let me show you what the major problem that you've been faced with the conventional swing. And by the way, I'm seeing how many people are taking lessons there in the conventional swing. But watch this. The conventional swing that you're learning right now has your, basically say it's an athletic position, but it has you hanging your arms down here below your shoulders. This will look pretty normal to most people. So you're hanging your arms down. And what this does, it produces the arms on one plane, hanging down, and the club shaft on a secondary plane. You can see it there. I'm looking at myself on the video. You can see how I have two axes, two planes, shaft and arms. The problem with these two planes is when I swing the golf club and I start coming down, there is a lot of mass on the club. And when you swing mass around your body, it's going to try to line up with your arms. It's going to try to align with what you're swinging at. So now these two angles are trying to line up. The problem that I'm going to have from this is I'm too close to the ball. I'm too close to that golf ball. So what happens now is I have to do something. What am I going to do? Well, I can hit the ground, right? If this tries to line up, but I'm not going to hit the ground. So I'm going to now I'm going to turn and lift. And now I'm going to turn and lift. And so what happens now, I have to create an upward motion and a downward motion and a rotational motion to get this club to impact. So you'll see people, their feet will come off the ground. You'll see people spin. You'll see people lift. And how many of you, and give me a 1, because I want to hear this too. How many of you have back pain? By the way, 50% of golfers will have back pain from playing the game of golf if they play the game in their lives. 50%. So almost half the golfers who play will experience back pain. So you're almost guaranteed to have back pain if you play golf. Now, this problem, I call this the one mistake. This is the one mistake because, and here's where the common sense. Why would I start here if I'm going to impact higher? Why wouldn't you start higher? Why wouldn't I start on the same place I'm going to impact? All right, that's the question I'm going to have for you tonight. Now, that simple question changes everything because look what I'm doing here. When I take the club out of the 2 planes and I put it on the impact plane, I'm putting it on the design of the club. It's already made to be on a plane. That's what clubs are built. They're built on with a lie angle. So now I take this club the way it's built, and now watch when I take it back. See that? You see the club plane? It matches. It matches the backswing to the top. It matches it coming down, and it'll match it at impact. It's even going to match it here on the way through. There's the swing plane. So this is why we call it the single plane swing, because I start the club with enough space for my body. I move the club in a way, there's the plane. I move the club in a way that puts it on plane in the backswing, keeps it on plane in the downswing, returns it to the same plane at impact, and releases on the same plane. It's a single plane swing. Now, makes a lot of sense, right? But it's also biomechanically the most efficient way that I can take the human body and strike an object on the ground. This is why we call it the natural swing. It's a natural way to hit that object. One of the questions that you're going to probably have is, Todd, why doesn't everybody do it this way? It's a really good question. All good players play in the golf club, but you see guys like Bryson DeChambeau, Steve Stricker, and there's other players on tour that are very close to being on a single plane. But the closer you get to starting and impacting, the closer you get your hands to the impact plane, the closer you are to the single plane. Now, there's some things that are really very interesting things that happen, because I'm going to go to the face-on angle. One of the things that you'll see from this angle, because there's really 2 angles we look at the swing from, is in the conventional address, what I call the one mistake, you see how when I hang my arms below my shoulders, see how level my shoulders are? There's not a lot of tilt. But you would never impact a golf ball without tilt. A good impact position looks like this. You're going to see tilt of my body. Notice how I have tilt. Notice how the lead arm aligns. Notice how the trail shoulder is lower. Notice how my body is rotated, and there's impact, right? All good players get to this nice moment of impact with tilt in their body. So from this angle, when I teach you the single plane swing, it's all about impact. Watch what I'm going to do. At address, I'm going to put my body into a tilt. What that does is it lines up my lead arm. See how it lines up my lead arm? There's that alignment. That's the same alignment I'm going to have at impact. Watch my trail hand. It then comes from underneath the golf club. Now I can go to the backswing and downswing on the exact same plane in the most efficient, easiest way possible with the human body, the way it's designed, the natural way. So what you're seeing me do is teach you the single plane swing, but it's actually the most natural way for your body to move to get to impact. That's what this is all about. Now, before I get into how I can teach you to learn this in a simple way, I would like to dive into a little bit of the science and biomechanics. And I don't want to get crazy detailed because they start losing people. They're like, oh, here we go, the science of the swing. But there's some things I really need to show you about this, because you have to understand that the body is designed in certain ways. And if I can match your body's design with what I'm doing here, I'm going to show you how that single plane swing is really the natural way your body is designed to hit a golf ball. Let's start by doing this. And you guys can do this with me if you'd like. Let me teach you a little bit about biomechanics and range of motion of the body. And this is where it gets pretty interesting, because if I'm going to simplify the way you hit a golf ball, what I really want to do is simplify and show you that you already are designed to do this. One way I can do that is just by doing this. And if you guys are sitting in your chair, you can follow along with the program here. But sitting in your chair won't matter. I want you to put your arm out in front of you. And this is called flexion. So I put my arm in front of my body. It's the shoulder goes into flexion. Now, let's look at what we call range of motion. Range of motion is I'm going to rotate my arm, back of my arm, this way as far as I can go. And that goes my back of the hands going to the ground. And now I'm going to rotate my hand the other way, and my thumb will go to the ground. So that's about 270 degrees of total rotation of my lead arm. Okay? That is the range of motion of my lead arm. And everybody will have generally that same amount of range of motion. I want you to look at something really quickly though. Impact, okay? When I go to impact, I want you to look at where my body position is. Notice how my arm is in flexion, like we mentioned, but look at my back of my hand. Notice how my back of my hand is going towards the club face, which is going towards the target. Okay, keep that in mind, all right? So watch this. So we know that at impact, I want to get the back of the hand and the club face to the target. Makes sense. So let's say, watch how I do this biomechanically. So we have all this movement in the arm. Let's do something. I want you to give me a tilt. We're going to call this side bend. I'm going to side bend. Now I'm going to rotate. I don't have quite as much. And the reason is because my arm being higher now limits its range. So the tilt has lifted the arm that's in flexion and limited its range. I can still go pretty far, but it's almost to the target now. As opposed to this, not tilted. See that? Tilted brings it almost to the target. So how important is tilt, right? Okay. But watch this. I'm going to have you do something pretty interesting. So go into your tilt and then go into internal rotation. So take your arm, which is in flexion, and turn it down. So make your thumb go to the ground. Okay, just do that. Now, with your upper arm, so from the shoulder to your elbow, don't move it. And all I want you to do is turn your forearm and watch what happens. The hand can only go to the target. It can't go further. That is your limit. That is your range of motion. Now, look what I just did there. The positions I just put your body in biomechanically forced your hand to only go to its max rotation to the target. I want to hear if that makes sense, because this is where I'm trying to keep it as simple as I can. When I do these programs, I want you to understand how important this is to say that there's some things I did to you. I tilted you, I put your arm in flexion, I internally rotated it, and now you can only square the club face. Because if that's your club face, it will only go to square. Everybody good? All right, now you're saying, Todd, how is this relevant, right? How is this relevant to swing? Well, let's look at the golf swing for a minute. I'm gonna grab the club, and let's watch what happens during the swing. I tilt my body at address. I put my arm into flexion. My back of my hand right now at address is towards the target. When I go into the backswing, it goes into internal rotation, okay? So that was me doing this. That's what happens in the backswing. When I come down in the downswing, it stays in internal rotation. In other words, remember how I had you hold the upper arm inward? That's what's happening in the downswing. It's holding itself internally. And then what happens is I hold it internally. The only thing that happens is the forearm squares, and the only thing it can do is square up. It can't go any past square. It's going to go perfectly into impact every time. As long as I'm tilted, I go internal, and I square. I can't hook it. I can't slice it. I can only hit it straight like that. Okay, now watch this. Do you remember when I said to you, I want to get you to impact, but I've got to do it consistently? If you can learn to tilt correctly, do that correctly, and do that correctly, you will consistently get the club to square every single time. It comes down to positions, right? If I position you correctly, you get the club to impact. Okay, let's go through one more. So now that I understand what's happening with the lead arm and my tilt, let's put the trail hand on the club. What's it doing, right? Pretty interesting. Well, look what happens when I tilt. You'll notice how my right shoulder lowers, and my right hand, it's somewhat underneath the club. It's what we call, it's rotated, but it's in a non-rotational position. So non-rotational means if I was going to sidearm or skip a rock, watch this. You wouldn't stand like this and skip a rock. What do you do when you skip a rock? You tilt, you lower the shoulder, look at my arm, and then it moves in a straight, non-rotational way. See, it's not rolling over, it's not rotating back, it's going into extension and then flexion. Extension and then flexion, okay? That's non-rotational. So that's what's happening here. When I set up with the proper lead arm and flexion and alignment and rotation, my trail arm is working non-rotationally up and down. That's what adds speed to the club. So now I have just taught you the absolute biomechanics to striking a golf ball perfectly straight every single time. You see how biomechanics works into that, but it's natural because this tilt, this position, and this position all make the swing natural and the least amount of motion that you can have in your body to swing a golf club. Now, I just taught you a piece of it, but that's really important. I'll show you the same thing with the lower body, and then we'll get into how I'm going to teach you this. Okay, so I kind of talked about arms, hands, and club, and getting the club to impact. Okay, cool. Let's go through lower body. The lower body needs to rotate, but the main function of lower body is stabilization. In other words, most of the speed of the swing comes from the upper body. Rotation of the torso, shoulders, arms, hands, and then club. So that's most of the speed in the swing. The lower body must be stabilized enough to let the upper body accelerate and produce speed. If we don't utilize the lower body well, we cannot get the speed out of the upper body. Another way of saying that is you cannot produce speed with the lower body, but you can certainly inhibit speed if the lower body doesn't work correctly. So how do we use the lower body correctly and efficiently, just like we did the upper body? So again, you can do an experiment with me. The goal of the lower body is stability. We must rotate it. We want to maximize its range of motion. Why? Because I want consistency. All right, I want to do it the same way every time. Here's how we do it. In the backswing, we create the leg position. We have the proper foot position. When we rotate back, notice that my feet are on the ground and I make a rotation. I stabilize. So I'm stabilizing against the trail leg. When I transition the upper body, just like I showed you how the arms work, I then stabilize into this leg. Notice how the foot is rotated, the knee is flexed. And then I release the club around a stable knee and I keep that foot down. So you'll notice that there's limiting factors. The fact that the feet are on the ground and I'm working around a stable knee and a stable knee create range of motion limitations. That's the same thing that I showed you when I have a tilt. It creates the range of motion limitation. My point to this is the positions that I'm teaching you are allowing the swing to come out of you. I'm teaching you that positions are the answer to changing your golf swing. All right. So that's the single plane swing. And before I get into how I'm going to teach it to you, I want to go through every position of the swing so you see it. So we'll go through this, but I have my address and grip. Notice the tilt. Notice the alignment of the lead arm. Notice the alignment of the trail arm. Notice there's my single plane alignments. I'm going to take the club into my backswing. Notice how I leverage the golf club, okay, against that trail leg which we talked about. I'm going to stabilize my lower body. I'm going to turn. This is going to maintain, this is what I call position 2. Then I'm going to go to position 3, impact position 4. Notice the realignment of the arm and the club. Notice the stable lead leg. Then we got position 5. Here's the most important moment though. There's position 4, impact. Position 5. And then back to the plane, position 6. That's where I've hit my range of motion limit. And then I stand up at the end when I end the swing. Those are the positions I'm going to teach you. Let's go down the line. I'll show you the exact same thing. Here's the address, single plane address and grip. Position 1, 2, right on plane, 3, impact 4, 5, 6, back to the plane, and then stand up, they end the swing. Those are the positions of the swing. Now, very simple, very effective, the most efficient way you can use the human body to strike a golf ball. How many of you are kind of understanding this? I want to see some comments in the chat, how simple that swing is. And I see some questions coming in, which is great. Okay. Now, let's run you through how I'm going to teach this to you. Now, here's the thing about it. One of the biggest problems I see with golf instruction, and it's going to continue until you understand what I'm putting on here, is that there is no process for people to learn the swing. Most of you out there are chasing YouTube tips, looking for some answer, but the problem is that that tip that you're getting, wherever you're getting it, doesn't match the systematic approach of something like the single plane swing. Notice that when I taught you the swing just there, I showed you the positions, I started at address and grip. Then I went into the backswing, position 1, then I went into position 2. I did this in the proper order. And this is why so many people are struggling with golf, is not only are they losing, or they don't have the correct positions, but they don't do anything in order. They're doing it all out of order, nothing's organized, nothing. And the reason I bring it up this way is because let me ask you this. If I was going to teach you to, for example, play the piano, right? And if you've never played the piano before, I'm going to teach you to play the piano. What would I do? I wouldn't say sit down and play music. I would say, let me give you some tips on how to play a song. That's not going to help you. The only thing that's going to help you play music is learn how to put your hands on the piano, position. Learn where the notes are, how to position your hands. Learn how to make chords from the positions of your hands. Then eventually, when you learn how to make where the notes are and where the chords are, and you put it into motion, sequence, you can play music. What if I was going to teach you to dance? I'm not going to teach you how to dance if I don't teach you the positions of the dance first. So let's go through it. The very first thing I'm going to teach you is address and grip. Address and grip. Now, address and grip. I did not say grip and address. How many of you learned the grip before the address position? I see it all the time. Address and grip. In other words, you see what I did to you when I was teaching you about range of motion limitations? I didn't say, here, grab the club and do this. I put your body into a tilt and your arm into a flexion, and then I put your hand into a range. That created the lead arm position, and then I brought the trail hand in. I taught you the address of the body and then the hand position, okay? So that was the address and grip. What's the second thing that I showed you? Positions. I showed you the positions of the swing, right? And there's actually 6 of them, 1 through 6. I showed you those, right? You got address and grip, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I showed you 6 positions. Now, once I teach you the address and grip and I teach you the positions, what would I teach you? I'd have you sequence those. Now let's talk about sequence before I get to the next step. Just like if I was teaching you to dance, I'd teach you the positions of the dance, and I'd put you into, let's say there was 10 steps to the dance. I wouldn't have you do all 10 steps. I would have you slowly go 1, 2, 3, 4. I'd slowly do it, sequencing. And whenever you sequence a body that's producing speed, like in a golf swing, rotational speed, you're trying to get the lower body to do its thing and the upper body to do its thing, you have what I call the braking system, the brakes. The braking system is nothing more than when you position the body correctly. Notice when I make a backswing that my trail leg hasn't moved. So it's putting on the brakes, not moving, as my body rotates around it. All right, so there's a part of my body that's stopping as the rest of it continues to move. And then in the downswing, you see the same thing. You see the lead leg put on the brakes, it stops, as the rest of the body moves around it. Well, it's happening in the upper body too. When I take the club back and I stabilize, because of my tilt, the shoulder gets isolated and the arms move around it. So there's parts of the body that are always stopping so that other parts can accelerate around it. Well, that's called the brakes. And the brakes are created from the proper positions, but they're also part of, when you start learning the position of swing, they're part of learning how to stop a certain part of the swing to accelerate another. And in other words, if I don't keep this still, I can't accelerate. If I move this, I'll lose acceleration. So as we learn the positions of the swing, we must learn how to sequence around the braking system. It's how we put the swing together in sequence. We do it slowly at first. And then, guess what? What's the next thing I'm gonna do? Once you learn how to sequence around the braking system, I'm gonna then give you speed. I'm gonna let you go ahead and accelerate, because now you can. All right. I wanna see number ones in here. This is common sense, is it not? You wouldn't learn anything any different than it. If you want to master something, this is exactly how I can speed up your learning process, because here's what most people do. And this is what you did, and this is what I did, and this is what everybody in this room did learning the game of golf. You grabbed a golf club, and guess what you did? You ran out and you started doing this. You started adding speed to it, didn't you? We all did it. I remember grabbing my dad's clubs and running out to the range and hitting golf balls, right? You're adding sequence and speed to a golf club, but you don't know how to do it. There's a problem with that. You're learning. You're learning how to sequence around improper positions, and now you're looking for answers to fix this, right? I get it. Everybody did it. We all learned backwards. I've never seen anybody tell me that they learned it in the correct order. Just think if you would have learned the game of golf like this: a perfect address and grip, perfect positions, and then you sequence. I'll be great right now. I promise you. You'd be amazing, right? Okay. Well, this is the way we got to do this, guys. We have to relearn how we learn the golf swing. And you might be thinking, oh, Todd, can old dogs learn new tricks? Yes, 100% you can, but you have to follow my process. This is what I call my formula. The only thing missing from my formula on this board is that you're going to have to do repetitions. You're going to have to do a repetitive process. You're going to have to learn the positions repeatedly and learn the sequence repeatedly, and you have to practice. You have to relearn this, right? That's the formula. Now that you know what the formula is, and this is how the process, I want you to look at the formula for 1 second. Not only is this the formula that I use to teach every one of my students for the last 30 years, my coaches use the same exact formula every 30 years, for the last 30 years. This is exactly the process that we use to help people improve and get better at golf. But it's also the process that I use to fix golf swings. So let's say I'm not hitting it well. Let's say I go out to the range and I'm not hitting it good. What do? Right? Had to hit some bad shots, can't figure it out. The last thing I want to do is start guessing. Oh, it could be my grip. I don't know. Ball's going left. Let's open the face. Could be my stance. I'll just aim more to the right. Don't do that, right? Let me show you how to do it. I'm not hitting it well. What am I going to do? Well, I'm going to go look at my address and grip. Let's check it off. Looks good. Got it, okay? Let me look at my positions. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'm going to check my positions. How am I doing? My address and grip's good. How am I looking there? Great. There, good. There, good. There, good. Okay. Oh, I see a problem in my position 3. Okay. Found it, right? I'm going to use this formula to build my swing, to learn my swing, to fix my swing, and to maintain my swing. This is the only last lesson you'll ever need in golf right here. That's all you have to do right there. You'll stop chasing problems. You'll start chasing quick fixes. You'll stop watching the stupid programs on YouTube where people are talking about, well, Scotty Scheffler does this or Bryson DeChambeau does this. Look, those guys are high level. They're very high level. They're doing stuff that you have not learned yet or does not fit into your system. Build your system around fundamentals. This is it right here. Fundamental, how things should be learned, and then you have a way to maintain it and keep it forever. This is the last lesson you'll ever need. All right, this is the process right here. How many does this make sense to you? Ron's on here saying it works. Ron's been involved with us for a long time. He got it, man. He plays great golf. Good job, Ron. So this is it. Now, I want to show you a program because my team came to me and said, Todd, I'm going to put these back up here actually. My team came to me and said, Todd, listen, we've been doing this now for many years. How can we help as many people as possible learn this in the most efficient, effective way? And I said, listen, I'm so tired of people going out there and saying, fix your swing in one easy tip, or I'll do it in 6 days. And I said, look, I need some time where people can go through the perfect process and I can actually get people accountable to putting their body and learning something new. So I came up with a 30-day training program. It's called Single Plane 30. Now, Scott, I'm gonna ask a question. I got Scott back here. How many months have we been doing this program now? Is this almost 18, 19?
19 months.
19 months. We've done 19 of these. We do it every month. And here's the thing. I like to be involved in the training. This isn't something where we just send you the videos and you do whatever. I'm involved with the process. So let's go through what this program really is. It's a very interactive training program that we do here every month at Graves Golf. It's a 30-day comprehensive transformational training program to help you learn the single plane swing in the perfect progressive formula. Week 1, we build the foundation. This is week 1 right here. Of course, we have to do that in week 1. We got to teach you address and grip, right? That makes sense. In week 2, we teach you the positions, but here's the thing, the positions are part of the braking system, so you start getting an idea for not only key positions of the swing, but also how the braking system starts developing. Then week 3, we sequence you around those brakes. We start teaching you how to move your body with your new positions and braking system. It's so simple and natural. When you guys learn this stuff, you're going to be like, why doesn't everybody do it this way? And then week 4, we let you accelerate the golf club. We let you add speed to the golf club. But here's the thing about this. If you go through this 4-week training program, you not only learn a new perfect golf swing and how to get to impact more effectively, you learn exactly how you should play golf for the rest of your life and how you should practice for the rest of your life and how you should, if you have any problems, fix your swing for the rest of your life. But here's a very important part of the program. This doesn't do you any good at all. Watching me up here does you no good. Watching the videos does you no good. What's going to do the most benefit for you to learn the swing is doing it, doing the training. So we actually have what we call daily accountability training modules. In other words, you'll wake up in the morning and we deliver to you what you should do that day. This is what I love about this program because I'm busy, you're probably busy, we have lots of stuff going on in our life. I need somebody holding me accountable. The daily modules look like this. It's a video with your training, and this is what we want you to accomplish for that day. And you get this delivered to you every single day, what your daily accountability module is. And so for every day you wake up, you got a task. You got to complete the module. That's every single day of the program. The next thing we do is we give you coaching support. We do weekly Zoom sessions with you where we're live and we help you through the issues you may be having. You come onto the Zoom call. We're averaging up to 200 people a month in this program, so we'll sometimes get 40, 50, 60 people on the Zoom calls, and they'll ask us questions about the weekly training or the daily training. And so we can answer your questions in person and make sure you're staying on track. So we give you coaching support. Inside the Single Plane Academy, when you're in the program, you can submit pictures of your positions in your swing. We can monitor your progress inside of the program. Again, we want to be as helpful and interactive as we can as coaches coaching you through the program. There is no program like this anywhere in golf. That's why we love Single Plane 30. Let's go through the package here because I know you guys think this is super expensive because the coaches are involved. Anytime you get coaches involved, people think it's really expensive. The 30-day training program is $649 value. That's all the modules you're getting. The daily accountability, keeping you accountable, $349 value. The coaching support, $1,000 value. The entire program, we only charge $297 per month. That's the value of the program, is that we want everybody to learn the perfect last lesson. So what's $297 if this is the last golf lesson you'll ever need? This is a bargain at any price. This is the most efficient way I can help you learn. But I got some more for you if you're willing to join the program tonight. Now, I know there's a link to throw up here. You can see it up here, gravesgolf.com/enroll. Is that the correct link? Oh, and there's a button on the screen. I can't see the screen, but yes, there's a button on the screen if you guys are interested. I'm going to give you, for tonight, I'm going to give you our Power Generation Masterclass. We have found that the Power Generation Masterclass makes a lot of sense when people complete the Single Plane 30 program, because you're going to want to add speed. I'm going to show you the dynamics of the golf swing. Once you know how to move, we want you to add power to the swing. A couple things you learn in the Power Generation Masterclass. You're going to learn the difference between power and speed. I think people get confused on what it is to have power, which is lower body, and speed in the upper body. Why lower body movement is the key to getting the speed out of your upper body. How to train more and add more to your body to add more speed and build power. And obviously how to increase the speed. So once you know how to produce speed, that's what this program does. We teach you how to increase it in the Power Generation class. One thing I will give you in this, for tonight only, by the way, since you're live tonight, I like to reward the people that join me live on the program. This is the Feeling of Greatness Training Club. We want to give this to you tonight as an offer for joining the program for $297. It comes free. It's a $160 value. We're going to give this to you tonight. All you do is pay shipping, which is probably $10. I have no idea how much it costs to ship it. But what this club does, it helps us with our address and grip position. Well, I'm going to show you how this club works real quick, because I want to demonstrate what this does for you. When I built this training club, I wanted to get not only my alignments correct, the body position, address, but I want to get the hands correct. This club has paint on it. There's red paint and white paint. And when I set up over the ball and I'm not tilted, I can see the white paint. When I tilt correctly and put arm in flexion, the white paint disappears. So this white paint disappears to me. So now I know that I'm aligned correctly. And so all I can see is the red paint. Now the grip has markings on it to get the hand in the correct position. Remember how I want your hand to the target? That's where it places your hand. And then it takes your trail hand and places it non-rotationally. And so the Feeling Greatness Training Club allows me to get my address with the paint in the shaft and the way shaft's designed, and my grip position perfect to learn the first step of the process, address and grip. So I want to give this to you tonight for being a part of the program. You just pay the shipping on it. The next thing I want to give you tonight for joining me, it's for tonight only, is the Single Plane Fitness. The fitness is part of the program that helps you enhance what you're doing inside Single Plane 30. So we have 4 training modules in the program. That's a bonus for tonight as well. And now, we've never done this before in tonight's program, because here's the thing. I will probably never do this again, because my time is crazy. My schedule's crazy. I'm traveling every weekend. I'm teaching all the time. I'm working with the business. I am extremely busy. And I told the team tonight, I want to try something. And I may never do this again, but I want to try something. I want to do swing analysis for anybody who joins Single Plane 30 tonight only. If you will join the program tonight, I will personally give you a swing analysis. So, Scott, how many people we got on the show tonight?
250.
So 250 people on there. That means that I might have to do 250 swing reviews, and I will do every single one for you. Here's the rules, though. You have to complete the program, and you will get the swing review once you complete the program. I'm not going to do it in week 1. I'm not going to do it in week 2. I'm not going to do it week 3. I'm going to do it when you complete the program, after you complete the program. It'll probably take me at least a few weeks to get all of them done. But if you join the program tonight and pay the $297 and join the program, which is the September program for Single Plane 30, you will get a swing review personally from me. Personal. I'm not going to. I will record it personally. That will review your golf swing and have you get on track with your single plane swing. But if you're watching this recording tomorrow, because some people will watch this tomorrow, didn't join us tonight. Not doing it for anybody after tonight. So you cannot get this. You have to do it now. So if you're willing to click that link right now and pay the $297, I will personally do your swing review. And I love to connect with you as well. I love teaching the single plane swing. I love helping people do it, but I always want them to go through the process of Single Plane 30. Matter of fact, I never teach anybody who hasn't been through this process. You must go through this process if you want to work with me. But I'm going to give you a free review, which is a $500 value for clicking that button tonight. All right, so let's look at the program one more time. For $297, you got single plane 30, $1997, $2,000 value. You got the Power Generation Masterclass, another $500 value. You got the single plane fitness modules, $200 value. You got the training club, $160 value. And you got my review, a $500 value. It's over $3,000 in value for $297. I don't think we can do better than that. That's going to be, and it's going to be a first, and it may actually be a last. I may never do this again, but I would look forward to reviewing your golf swing. Okay, we got some questions coming in. Somebody's popped a question on there.
We got a testimonial if you want it.
Oh, let's do the testimonial. Let's do it. Is this it? Okay. Here's a quick testimonial. We had somebody pop in here. I got to get a little closer to the screen. I'm 3 weeks into single plane 30. It's difficult to describe how impressive the results have been. I've been down the swing mechanics rabbit hole for 5 years. I've seen more success in the past 3 weeks than I have in 3 years. I couldn't be more pleased. So glad I found Graves Golf and coaches Scott and Matthew, who are the coaches that coach us out of the program along with me. That's from David B. So David, thank you for that testimonial. Look, David's experiencing what we see so many people experience single plane 30. And I got to be honest with you, when I hear testimonials like that, I don't take credit. You know why? Because I know this process is so fundamentally sound, you cannot not get success from it. It's just built into the program. That's why I love this so much. That's why I've loved single plane 30 so much. It's such an important part of the last lesson you ever need because it's so fundamentally sound and great. Then you'll get results like that. Here's a question from Frank. I have back pain. Will this help? So let me quickly go through that. I don't want to spend a lot of time on this, but I kind of mentioned how the single plane swing helps your back. Watch this. Compared to the conventional golf swing, when you're in two planes, you have the arms too low. And what happens is when you're too close to the golf ball, and when you bring your arms down, you also have to move up. So you're putting what we call compression on the back because your lower body's moving up, your upper body's moving down. And then when you turn, you have a thing called shear. So you're compressing and shear. Well, we all have rotation in our swings. Whether you're a conventional swing or a single plane swing, we all have rotation. That's how we produce speed. The thing that we eliminate with a single plane swing is compression. So now, since I'm not close to the ball and I'm on a single plane, I no longer have compression. Matter of fact, I actually move slightly down. It takes all the pressure off of my back. So no longer do I have the pressure on my back. So now I can turn and I don't produce any shear. So yes, there's science behind how the single plane swing saves your back. As a matter of fact, the Texas Back Institute and Cedars-Sinai, the doctors at Cedars-Sinai, have been recommending this golf swing, the swing I teach, for years now without me even knowing it. I mean, I know that now because they told me, and I've met a few of them, and I even have a business partner that's at Texas Back Institute. But before I knew these guys, they all said, and the reason I met them is because they said, hey, Todd, we've been teaching your swing for years because we know it saves people's backs. Next question. Okay, here's another question. We get this one quite a bit. Are all the classes live? And people ask this question because they think they have to be up at 6 in the morning to watch the class live. The modules are not live. They're pre-recorded videos that get delivered to you. The live sessions are the Zoom sessions we do multiple times throughout the week. So yes, there are some sections that are live, but we will announce those for you so you can schedule those. But the other modules are delivered to you every single day. You can actually do it any time during the day. I have some recommendations how you should train. You'll hear me talk about that when you're in the class. There's ideal ways to train, but you want to get the training in throughout the day. I actually have people do it multiple times a day. So the goal here, and this is why it's such a great accountability thing, is you're accountable. You'll get in a habit of doing your module. Every day you look at your module, you go into Single Plane Academy, you log into your module, you do your module, you check off your training, and we see whether you've done your training or not. You can keep up with your training. That's the whole accountability part. Here's a YouTube question. Oh, it's actually a swing question. In the backswing, when do you lift your hands to get them on plane? It's pretty natural. Watch this in my backswing. So when I go from address and I turn into the backswing here, this is what we call position 1. When my trail arm folds up, the folding of the arm is what lifts it onto plane. So I'm not really lifting the club, I'm just folding the arm, and that puts it on the plane. What you don't want to do is lift the arms. That wouldn't be on plane. So I want to basically go to position 1 and just fold the arm, and it should naturally go on plane, right? Now, if you're going to skip a rock, you do something very similar, right? You do something very similar. So So it's really a natural motion to get the club on plane. I don't like to do anything that's too unnatural in the golf swing. Another question here, how high do you grip the club, and can you show how your wrists work in takeaway? How high do you grip the club? All right, I'm not sure what that means.
How are your hands? What's that?
No, how high are the hands? Okay, it's not the height of the hands, it's, because the height of the hands are relative to the bend of the body. It's the fact that this wrist, this is called ulnar deviation. Okay, so this is the full release of the wrist. So you want the wrist to be fully released. Well, why? Because that's where it's going to be to get its full range of motion at impact. So if I'm ulnar deviated, I get full range, that's what squares the face. If you don't have full ulnar deviation, you won't get the face square. So the height of the hand is really just about the wrist being released. And then, I'll just go through biomechanics a little bit here. It goes, this is radial, this is ulnar deviation. This is radial deviation, when the wrist moves this way. And then it goes back to ulnar deviation. Well, watch what happens when I do that from the down the line view. Ulnar deviated, radial deviated. Watch the club now. And then it goes radial to ulnar. Well, that's the strike. I'm going to move the ball so I don't hit it. But that's the strike. It goes like this. That's the strike of the golf ball. That's why you compress the ball. See how the club comes down? So that's just the wrist moving in the proper strike position. What you don't want to see is it not get radials, right? This would be rolled in, club's flat. I don't have angle of approach. It's not radial. So you want to go ulnar, radial, then ulnar again. It's basically built into the training of single point 30, but that's the ideal way the club moves into the ball. Oh, this is a good YouTube question. Christopher B, he asked a lot of questions. How far do you take the club? This is a good question, and I like this one because it's not how far I take the club, it's where the range of motion limit stops. So watch this. I'm going to take the club as far back as I can based on the positions that my body allows me to. So if I have proper positions, it creates a limit. Watch this. This is a 7-iron, by the way. Proper forward bend and side bend, my address and grip. I'm going to work around my trail leg, so my trail leg is in its position correctly with my posture. And then I'm going to work around that leg, and you'll notice that is my range of motion limit of this swing because of my forward bend and side bend. So that's the length of my backswing, right? Now, you might say, well, Todd, can you take it back further? I can if I'm out of position. So if I was to tilt my body this way, see, I can go back further. See, that's out of position because I've taken my body and I've tilted it this way. So yes, I can take it back further, but I'm not in the correct position. So again, it's about learning the correct position of the body. That creates a limit on the range of motion, and that's the limit of the backswing. So there's ideal positions, obviously. When you hit the correct position, you'll know the length of the backswing. Oh, by the way, we've done this at a few of these events. I'm going to give away a level 3 membership. Let me tell you what a level 3 membership is. Some of you may want to do this anyway, but level 3 membership is when you work with our coaches online for 12 months. This is a $1,000 value. So we're giving away a $1,000 value here. It's a 1-year program. Gary Tebbins of Springtown, Texas has won a year of coaching. So congratulations, Gary. 2 R's in Gary, okay. Could be Jerry. Could be Jerry, yeah. That's why I was looking at that. Okay, this is the last question. Let me put the offer back up real quick. You guys have the offer real fast? Let's go through that one more time. I'm so afraid of this offer. I'm so afraid we're going to have 500 people want reviews. Yeah. So single plane 30 class, power generation master class, single plane fitness modules, the free training club, and then my swing review, $297, but you got to click that link tonight, gravesgolf.com/enroll. All right, one last question.
Go to 31, Tristan. It's a good one.
Is this it right here? Okay, I have a lot of trouble starting with the lower body no matter whether I'm using the single plane swing or the conventional swing. results in a pull hook. What's the best way to eliminate starting the downswing with shoulders instead of lower body? From Tom H. So one of the things that I train you inside single plane 30 is how to transition. Transition is the change of directions of backswing to downswing. A lot of people have trouble with change of directions. But as you see in this question, the change of directions, most people focus on the change of direction as the problem. A lot of times you see that people are out of position in the backswing. And when they're out of position in position 2, we call it position 2 at the top of the swing, position 2 will cause you to be, you will not have the ability to transition correctly. So what that means is this. The transition is when you do this. When I'm at the top of the backswing and I have the proper position, the stability of my trail leg, which we talk about the braking system, I'm able to push my lower body. It doesn't look like a lot on video, but I'm pushing from inside my foot. I'm pushing my lower body first before my upper body starts turning. So that's the change of directions. It starts with lower body. People have trouble because what they do is they get into a backswing position where they're out of position with the trail side. When I'm out of position with the trail side, you can't push. So I can't initiate the pelvis movement first, and they move upper body first. And so generally transition problems start because you're incorrectly positioned at position 2. Again, I have to go through my formula. And so I'm not, if somebody asks me that question, I'm having transition problems, what am I going to do? I'm going to look at your address and grip. Are you positioned correctly? Do you have are you positioned correctly at address? Do you have the framed up, stabilized legs? Okay? So I'm going to look at address and grip. Then I'm going to look at your position 1. Then I'm going to look at position 2. I'm going to go through the process. So again, yes, you may have trouble with your transition, but the answers are right here in my formula, and they're always right here in the formula. And you've got to stick to this process. The whole goal of single plane 30 is to teach you the process of not only how to build a perfect swing, but the process of how to maintain it and keep fixing your swing if you have problems, because this will fix everything for you. And stop chasing around. Well, I can't transition. I come over the top. No, you don't come over the top. You just got to find the cause of it and fix it, right? You just got to find the cause of it. That's what this is all about. We good? All right, we're good. Thank you guys for joining me, and gals, if you're on here, thank you so much for joining me tonight. Join me